today we're going to talk about mark making and different ways that we can work with marks to either begin or complete or just work in our paintings with different marks. So we've got a lot to go through, so let's just get started. Does anybody have anything they need to say?
Good morning.
No, good morning. Looking forward to doing mark making
Yep.
today. I'm going to
Okay.
point my camera down.
I'm going to point my camera down too. So I don't know how I've got this all not working, but so anyway, I can't see you guys, but that's okay. I'm sure it's all recording and it's on you. And it
Yep,
said,
we can see you. We're all set.
okay, I just wanted to make sure it did go live, but I'm sure it is. I can't get to my computer and get that working. If one of you can check and see if we're live on YouTube, I'd appreciate it. So anyway, there's so many different ways to make marks, and there's so many different ways that I use, and so many different tools. And just, Korinne and I were just talking a little bit about different tools, and everybody's got different ones. These are Derwent watercolor pencils. I got aqua color crayons. I've got Derwent intense sticks. I've got Poscas. I've got thin acrylic pens. I've got Stabilos. I've got pastels. I've got oil pastels. So there's all sorts of different things you can use. Um, and there's all sorts of different gestures you can use. One of the things that, and there's all different reasons why you use mark making. One of the big things that I use mark making for is to set a mood. And the other thing that I use mark making for is to connect different areas. How about you guys? What do you use mark making for?
Oh, lots of things. I use it for contrast to add contrast and
Mhm.
interest. Sometimes if I need to accent the focal point, I'll sometimes put in some marks that draw the eye to a focal point.
Yeah,
I think I do all of that and connect different sections
yeah.
of the painting.
I find that I use it more as connection than anything else. And then, so when you talk about mark making, then there's also how you make your marks. So one of the things that I have noticed is that different marks give different energy. So if I am doing a very chaotic mark making like this, sometimes I will do something like this and then use that underneath something just kind of to give me the idea of there's going to be a lot of energy in this. You can, to me, I also, there's energy in colors. So another thing that I do that allows what I call negative mark making is, or yeah, it's kind of negative painting. But if I put an undercolor, so here I'm just going to put just a little bit of an undercolor here as if, whoops, now, of course, I don't have my little thing that I wanted. So now I've put this mark making here, but now I'm going to coat the whole thing. And I would let this dry. And then if I want to later go back into this, if I put something over top of it that I want to color, to cut back into, I'll have a foundation. And I also don't have a white piece of paper. So that's something that I do a lot just to kind of start off with and to start off a mood. This is a pretty energetic, moody color that I have underneath here. But I could do the same thing with a let's say I do something really serene, and this I'm using a white aqua color for, and then I decide that I'm going to put a really serene color down next, and very little of it. And like Korinne's doing, I'll use a little bit of water with it. And usually what happens with this, of course, I usually do it with watercolor, not this, is some of the white's going to show through, and I have a nice serene under color here. Of course, I usually use Stabilo, and I used the Derwent, and it's kind of just went away, but that also could be something to as a foundation of a little painting. And you can see that then you have your foundation. So that's one of the things I do. And the other thing is to use color as, you know, you can use color too as emotion. So if there's a world of difference, so here I'm going to use this little blue, and I'm just making some marks. Well, if it was working, I'm making some marks and I'm thinking serene. So if I have a space that I'm looking for serene, maybe some very small marks in circles can work. And or one of my favorite things to do is to put dots. This isn't dry enough yet, but I'll put dots in areas to kind of connect them. And those are very serene marks. And if I want something that's very bold, I might take another color like that red that you used, or I can use a deep color red and then just really put some bold marks in. And that shows a lot of energy. So there's all sorts of different ways to make your marks. So I just wanted to kind of, I mean, my favorite way tends to be, I don't know why, I tend to go through dots a lot to connect areas. I love dots in things. What is your favorite connections, Green? You have them, or?
Dots and dashes.
Dots and dashes, yeah. And I think that and depending on how you do it, whether it's like here, these are very solid and they make a statement, whereas I can make very thin, delicate areas and it makes a different statement. I also love using the ink directly from one of the bottles of the acrylic ink and making just little connections that are fluid and also kind of have some circular motion on it. So I love the connection, but kind of looseness. So those are all different ways. Ooh, I like yours there. They're all different ways that we can make marks. And again, you can use pencils, you can use charcoal. You're using paint there, and we get a lot of energy in what we have here. So I'm going to put this aside, and then I'm going to grab something that actually just needs some marks for finishing. And we're going to talk about different kinds of finishing marks. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, ooh, I love that, Corinne.
Oh, thanks. So this was a gel plate print, but what I did is I started um, by putting a stencil down of the flowers, and I did them first. I kind of stenciled them on, and then I had the leaf stencil I stenciled in, and then I put leaves on, and then I did an overall background, two background colors. So it was fun. It was 4 layers,
Mm-hmm.
but it does need some enhancement to make it a kind of a standalone print.
Yes, yes, it really does.
So that's what I'm going to work on next with hopefully I have some of my Caran d'Ache water soluble crayons. I've got
Crayons.
some pastel pencils, and I've got some colored pencils, and I may pull out something else. We'll see.
Yeah. And yours, Laurie, is lovely too. It looks like it was some kind of leaf.
Well,
Is
Uh,
that with alcohol ink?
yeah, it's from my alcohol ink demo I did the other day on the alcohol ink.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. It looks lovely.
That was a gel print with alcohol inks. Yeah.
very
Uh-huh.
cool.
And so what are you going to use with it? Do you?
I'm still trying to decide. I think I want to put some marks on it. I have my Stabilo here. I got like a Stabilo pencil. I got a Stabilo um crayon, but I think that I might actually do it with one of my Illustrator pens, one of my Micron Illustrator pens.
Yeah,
Is that I
Cool.
on this one because I don't want to overpower what I got going on, but I do.
right. It is quite beautiful what you've
It
got on
is.
there. It is really quite lovely. And I thought that so I got a brand new acrylic painter pen out. Oh, there it goes. And it wouldn't do its little free itself up. This painting I have desperately overworked. So I've used this thing. This thing has been lessons from various, it started out as a gel plate print, and then it ended up with having to put texture in it, and then it ended up with a negative painting, and then and so this has been a demo painting that has been like so desperately overworked that I'm going to try to see if I can actually loosen up a bit and see if I can get this to look interesting. So that's what I'm going to try with this one. And that's why I'm trying to get this white gel pen to work. A lot of times I'll do this directly with my F&W inks, but the white ink is a little clobby right now, so I'm going to try it with this and see if I can get this to work. The one thing that really drives me crazy with all of these pens is that they don't really, they tend to give out too soon. So I'm just going to start playing. And again, usually when I'm trying to connect something like with this one, I don't want to, I want to stay kind of make funky lines. I don't, I want this to just be kind of funk because this is one of my funky line paintings. I think, you know, who does this, I saw Beth Pluth doing this, and it just really, she's done it a lot. I used to do this a lot of times with the alcohol inks when I just get a mess of alcohol inks and not know what to do with it. So again, this is just highlighting. So now where before it looked kind of disconnected, I'm hoping that by the time I finish this little kind of scribbly thing that I'm hoping to do here, that this will start looking by using some marks and indicating stuff, that this will start looking a little more rhythmatic and interesting. So we'll see whether I can get it accomplished. So they're crazy puppies. But do you see how it just unifies the whole thing too? That's the big thing
Yes.
I wanted to
Yeah.
talk about was that you can use marks for unification. And I really think that when you end up with, especially what I ended up here, is I ended up with too many different almost subjects in here because I kept on demonstrating different things. So I'm just seeing what I can do to and now I find that that's a pretty interesting looking painting. I don't want to do too much in the sky, but I think I need to put something up here. So I could end up with maybe, I think I'm just going to put a circle. And I'm going to make it a funky circle and bring it in. And I think then that's going to kind of connect everything. And so now where before, and I could put dots because I am a big dot person. So a lot of times I will start some dots from this, but I don't think so. I've got too much texture already in that sky for dots to go. But now to me, that painting looks 100% better. And it might actually be a real painting, whereas before it was a demo. And oh, I like your coloring, Laurie. That looks really nice.
Thank you.
So, and the other thing that I frequently use mark making for is again some kind of connection. So here I just was practicing. I was just having fun and putting some colors down and kind of thinking flowers. So maybe I'll figure out a way to connect all of this. What do you think? Can I? I don't know. So I can take like Korinne's doing and find. I'm gonna
Just kind
find.
of finding the shapes.
Yeah, finding the shapes. I like how you're finding the shapes.
And then I'm really trying, so let's see, I can lift it up. I'm really trying so the lines aren't solid. I'm kind of sketchily doing them because I want to keep kind of that flowy look to this.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't want solid lines.
yeah.
And
Well,
then I am using my pastel pencil to fill in a little color.
that's really pretty. So I'm going to play with this just a little bit and use some, and I don't know what it's already got some really interesting, this was one that I just kind of made up out of something else. So it's already got some interesting lines in it, and I am going to just kind of play with it a little bit. Again, I think this can actually I could use a little bit of white around here just to kind of scratch it in. But like Corinne says, you don't necessarily want to have it all even. At least I don't. I
No,
usually,
I don't.
almost always go outside the lines. So I'm just trying to get a little more energy in here. But I need to connect it somehow. So I'm not sure exactly. I did not like it. So I'm going to put some connections in here. I don't know whether this is going to become something. You know, sometimes they just don't, they're just play. You're not necessarily going to become something. So let me look and see whether I can get something of interest working in here or whether it might be just an experiment in how to play with my, yeah, play with my palette knife, which is basically what it was. And not, I keep on wanting to try these Inktense blocks and see what happens with them. Ooh, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, let me know because I'm interested in those. I don't have any. Of course, we always need one more art supply.
I know I always need one more art supply, but I don't know. They were on sale. That how I get everything is somebody says something about something and then they go on sale and I'm like, oh, I
And
have.
then I use my Amazon rewards.
That's exactly what I've done.
I save them up and then I'm like, oh, free art supplies.
Right. That's how I got, yeah,
It's not really,
actually,
but you know, psychologically it sounds good.
right. That's how I got my dirt. That's how I got these. They were free art
Hmm.
supplies because they were Amazon Amazon would, rewards. Because I end up ordering so much stuff for classes. I have a good amount of awards. So then I'm like, okay, I can do this. I'm just using some marks in the background and kind of keeping this third here and a little bit white up there. And I'm not sure what it is, if it's even flowers or not, but that's okay. Let me see if what happens if there's a lot of dark in here, but what happens if I just boldly go for some more dark? Because I really like contrast, and this is fun. I like the contrast now. And so now I've got this fun contrast happening. What do I want to? Maybe I just... And so mark making can also change the entire mood of what
Yes.
with all of that sloppy kind of stuff that I've just done. I like the kind of, it doesn't even know what's it's just kind of movement. There's movement now in that. And so I think I'm actually quite happy with what I've done here with these marks. And just something I want in that vase looking thing. Maybe I just need to tone it a little bit there and make it look flat there. And I might want to use just a little bit. I've put some of this Inktense here, but maybe I want to pull some of that off. That was fun. And so now that's a kind of a fun, that will make a really nice little card. It's not a piece of art necessarily, but I can see
Right.
that it might make and I could put a little sentiment right up here somewhere and it would make a really cool card. So that's another instance of mark making. How are we doing? We've got 10 minutes. So the other thing, so these are, last night I was also playing a little bit with mood, and I was, looking at, this is like the sunshiny mood, but then I put a blue moon in, or blue whatever in, I'm not sure what it is, but I get a little off kilter sometimes, but I like them. And then this one is kind of grayer with a yellow sun in it. And I thought that I would see what happens with this, if I could make this one more serene and this one more intense. So I'm going to go for that. And I may have to go for my Stabilos for that. Because it looks like these Derwents don't have a white.
Hmm.
So upset. I'm not, again, mark making. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do here, but I'm trying to make things look a little more on the serene side and interesting side. So I'm going to start putting some more definition in places. And white, and to me, is a more it's a quieter than the black. The black that I put into this just upped its energy. Can you see how that just went, whoo? You've got all
Mm-hmm.
the energy in there. Now I'm trying a little white in this to kind of calm down its energy. Get it to be really serene. And maybe even a little rubby-dubby here, because this is really
For
dark.
me, the marks have drawn my eye to other things that I wanted to do, like play around
Mm-hmm.
with the background a little bit.
Uh-huh.
the leaves come, but just subtly. See, I took my Stabilo woody
Uh-huh.
and went around the almost like negative painting with it.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
in there, and then I just, because it's water soluble, I could just take my wet brush and just
Just do it. Yeah.
wash and
Right.
give it the wash.
Well, and that's what I was was the idea of putting with this white here on mine too, was to see what happens if I soften it a little bit. And I wanted to soften this up a little. And it just gives it just a little bit more in the way of glow. And this is
Mm-hmm.
very loose. I'm just thinking of what happens, and I don't know why I put that thing blue in there, but it's just I like it. It's it's surrealistic, but it's just it is an interesting something different in all of this. So I don't I've done this like a bunch of different times, putting blue suns in, and I just don't know why, but I think they work for me. Maybe they don't, but there's some fog in this valley. So I'm using again, like you're doing, you can use your marks to define things and
Mm-hmm.
focus on certain things. And then you can soften your marks and, so now that again is probably could be a really interesting postcard. This one I wanted to see what happens if I love the dark and the sun, and I wanted to see what happens if I just use some marks to, again, keep it very abstract,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe get it so it looks like there might be some some trees of some sort in here. But only do it with lines, not, so I'm doing it with some, just kind of scraping and putting this white in and just giving the illusion of, and it's not about being real. It is just, I wanted the energy to go more black and white in here. And just, again, it doesn't have to, this isn't about being real. For me, this is kind of an abstract feeling. And now that really gives me, with just that little mark making that I did,
Mm-hmm.
look at the difference that happened now in that painting.
Right.
And again, it's very simple. So what, this has a color of this all has different moods. I think we've all shown different ways that we can finish and get toward completion using our marks. And also exploring different ways of using marks. And, you know, I think the white really worked in that. I may put a little bit, I can take a little bit of a dark color again, so you have I might put a little tiny bit of more of in the light. So I got the white that's really scratchy, but now I've got some dark that's really scratchy, which actually highlights it a little more. So I think that's cool. So hopefully everybody's learned for this. And I don't have in front of me what we're doing next week, but I think it's palette knife painting of some kind.
Very
Um,
cool.
so I will announce it. And I think we're done. So I am going to disconnect, I guess, and say hello. Now, for all of you that are watching this, please check out our exploremixedmedia.com site. and see about maybe becoming a patron. Now we're going to do a live on the, not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after. Is it the 24th? Fairly certain we're going to be doing a live then on the 24th. And we're going to be having a couple of different projects. I have 2 different projects up about doing palette painting. Portrait is going to go up next week for a project if you want to, how to do it. So that's kind of where I'm at. And do you guys have anything to say?
No, to have a good weekend.
Have a good
Yeah, I know.
weekend. Now
Okay.
let me get